Hey, nice to see you again. As an entry-level UX designer, you probably won't be expected to lead a design sprint, but it's still helpful to know what it takes to plan a successful one. Let's check out some of the basic ideas. First up, user research. If you're lucky enough to have a dedicated researcher on your team, they can own this step. If not, well, you might be taking it on yourself. User research is always the first step in any sprint planning process. Your research should focus on the user problems you're trying to solve during the sprint. You don't have to detail out a specific problem right away, but getting a rough idea of what your sprint will focus on will help you decide which research methods make the most sense. We'll discuss different research methods in more detail later. Next, it's time to call in the experts. If you're planning the sprint, it's up to you to schedule short talks with colleagues or industry experts. You'll listen to these info-packed talks during the understand phase of the sprint. A good talk helps clarify the problem your sprint is trying to solve. Keep in mind, the more experts you bring in, the more schedules you have to accommodate. So start planning early. We promise it'll be worth it. Step 3. Find the right space. Sounds a little obvious, right? But trust me, booking the right room can make all the difference. It's important to ensure that the space allows all employees equal opportunities to perform their job. Let's talk about a few things you should look for. Whiteboards to capture your ideas or hang sticky notes, acoustics so participants can hear each other easily, accommodations for anyone who needs them, and comfortable furniture that you can move around easily. You're going to be spending a lot of time in this room, so get cozy. Once you've found the right space, it's time to gather supplies. If you're planning the design sprint, it's your job to make sure everyone has what they need to participate, kind of like a teacher handing out classroom supplies. Some essentials include markers, sticky notes, and a lot of snacks and water. On to step 5, establish the rules of the sprint. If you want this to be a gadgetless, distraction-free zone, now's the time to say so. Figuring out the ground rules in advance sets the tone for the sprint, gets everyone on the same page, and helps your team stay focused. So you've done your research, called in the experts, found the right space, gathered supplies, and established your sprint rules. What's next? Step 6 is planning introductions. This can be pretty important since sprints involve cross-functional teams that may have never met before. We all know icebreakers can be a little cheesy, but they're still a great way to help your team get comfortable with each other. Plus, choosing icebreakers that are relevant to your sprint can motivate your team and put them in the right mindset. Here's an idea for an icebreaker. Ask everyone to talk about a time they called customer service to complain. This puts the team in the shoes of a user, exactly where you want them to be when solving UX design challenges. All right, we made it to the final step, post-sprint planning. That means thinking about what will happen after the sprint wraps up, like how your team might use what you've learned to achieve other goals. To do this, you need documentation. Make sure you enlist a few people to help document the design sprint by taking pictures, collecting sticky notes, and jotting down ideas. Okay, let's recap the sprint planning basics. To prepare for a design sprint, you'll need to conduct user research, schedule talks with experts, find the right space, gather supplies, establish ground rules, break the ice with your team, and plan out post-sprint action items. Sound about right? Awesome. Let's keep going. Up next, we'll walk through a design sprint brief.